course we will look into it. Yes, I'm aware that it's an election year. Keep a hold of your hat, Councillor. Now is not the time to lose your nerve. It would appear that someone has hocked a rose gold wedding ring and matching engagement ring. Sound familiar?
Deirdre Muller.
Press the pawnbroker and see what you can find out. The address is 348 South Main Street. The Muller case goes before the grand jury next week, and the DA does not want any egg on his face. Then get out to the railroad depot on Santa Fe Avenue. We have another poor unfortunate found this morning beside a railroad line. 40-year-old white woman.
Right, Skipper.
Poor little twist. She was 13 if she was a day.
Another body, and Deirdre Muller's ring. The Emperor may soon have to come to terms with the fact that he's wearing no clothes.
Exactly. Did you get that book of riddles shoved up your ass, Phelps? Is that what your old man paid college tuition for?
That bum took a swipe at me, put him down in my sap.
The guy gave his wife a tap. I said, "All fair and love it for."
You know the way. We can drive.
And where exactly are we going?
You've got to admit, this is looking hot.
Anyway,
Along with all of the other indicators.
Hugo Moeller was identified by the school's groundskeeper. He's our guy.
Witnesses have fingered the wrong guy before. Set up.
Your regular mama, and I'll put that gun away.
Oh, lay that pistol down, babe.
How can I help you boys?
Advice?
All right.
Detectives Phelps and Galloway, LAPD. You have a rose gold wedding and engagement ring?
David Bremner. Am I going to get something for this pledge? Gave that bum money, now you guys are going to leave me short.
How much did you give him?
$50?
Try another number.
20?
Try 10. Feel lucky you're getting it.
I have the rings right here.
What's this mark here?
Maker's mark. Usually traceable. That one came from Hartfield's Jewelry down on Broadway.
Thanks for the tip. Does this mark mean anything?
Hallmark. Gives you an idea of the quality.
What have you got on the guy who brought these in?
Goes by the name of Percy B. Shelley. Gave an address. 15 Poland Street, London, Tulare County.
Can you give us a description of the man who pawned these rings?
Not sure. Medium height, medium build. Dark hair, I think. Sorry. He just had one of those forgettable faces.
We'll be in touch, Mr. Bremner. You can drive.
Fine. Where are we headed?
We have a problem.
We could have the local troopers check out the Tulare County address.
The address is bogus. Purpose having fun with us. The guy who's been sending the Dahlia letters is also the guy who pawned these rings.
How do you figure that?
Percy Bysshe Shelley wrote the poem that came with the Dahlia letter. The Dahlia letters are genuine, and the man who killed Elizabeth Short may have also killed Deirdre Mullen.
And how do we prove that, Phelps? Skipper ain't gonna like this one.
We're gonna have to rely on this guy tripping up on his own vanity.
You boys ready? Follow me.
We should keep this development with the rings under our hat until we speak with the captain.
We're all on the same team, Rusty.
Chain of command, Phelps. The skipper will decide who needs to know. Got it?
I get it, Rusty. I just don't like it. Hard, isn't it?
Yeah. I look after all the rail depots.
What have you got?
The Negro, Nelson Gaines, called it in. I came down here to make sure him and the other guy, Jameson, stuck around.
Jameson found the body?
Something like that. Guy makes me sick.
We'll talk to the coroner. Keep an eye on both of them.
Beautiful day. Hope we don't have any trouble.
What have we got here?
White female, approximately 40 years of age, lipstick smudges on the face, but no writing, at least nothing legible. A blunt force trauma to the temple, nose, and eye regions. Ligature marks point to the probable cause of death being strangulation.
Any idea of the time of death?
From her temperature, after midnight would be my guess.
Smell?
Very good. There is the usual evacuation smell, but it appears she's been living rough for quite some time.
Very strong smell of alcohol.
Well, the autopsy will tell, but I would assume that she was inebriated.
Another missing ring.
Certainly seems I've been swabbing a lot of bare fingers recently.
Can you be more exact about the time of death?
No later than 2 a.m. The state the body was in, a 1 or 2 hour window is the best I can do.
Someone was trying to get her to come home. We could go over to the lot and see what they know about her.
That's going to be difficult, Cole. Keystone Studio lot closed back in 41.
Beautiful day. Hope we don't have any trouble.
Maybe someone at Mensch's will remember her. This is a chit for personal items, not booze. It's an angle worth investigating. What are you thinking, Red?
The city keeps tossing us dead bodies. We're just running to catch up.
I doubt it. Detective Phelps, LAPD homicide.
John Ferdinand Jameson.
We need you to answer some questions, John.
If you don't mind, I prefer Ferdinand.
Don't push your luck, knucklehead.
What were you doing to the body, Ferdinand?
Are you sure you won't be upset?
Try me, Ferdinand.
I was kissing her. It's not against the law.
Shut up.
There's no
Take
law
your
against
beating
it.
like a man.
Turn out your pockets, Ferdinand. Classic Carmine. Is this yours, Ferdinand?
No. I found it near her purse. I thought she could use some lipstick.
Rusty, stop! Don't hit him. You went through her purse?
It wasn't like she needed it. I took a look.
Did you take any money?
Wasn't any to take. I found her lipstick and her matchbook over on the mat. Not much else.
You found the body?
Yes, I did. I work here. I was coming off shift and headed home.
Why didn't you report the body, Jameson? Do you know how this is going to look to a jury?
A jury? What gives? I could tell that she was dead. I came through here about midnight last night. She wasn't here then.
Let me belt him again.
You're under arrest, Jameson. We'll see how this plays out. Until then, you can think a little on how you'd like to be treated if you were found dead.
I'm telling you, it's not illegal. Me and some friends of mine...
Clyde, you get this sack of shit into a cell. I'll deal with him later.
Sure, Rusty.
Detective Phelps and Galloway, homicide. Can you tell me exactly what happened?
We were shunting cars over to the main line when I saw this man here lying on top of this woman. The woman wasn't moving and seemed to be in a bad way.
What time was this?
About 7:30 this morning, sir.
Thanks for your help. Have you given Patrolman Hart your details?
I have, sir.
Thank you. You can go now.
Phelps, 1247.
How can I help, Detective?
I need an address on Levine's Liquor, closest store to the Santa Fe Avenue rail yard, if possible.
Just a moment, Detective. Closest store would be the one at 939 South Hope Street.
Thank you. You're behind the wheel.
And where exactly are we going? You read that those goddamn Chinese want to sell the relief food that we're sending them?
Yeah, I read about that.
Those people are starving. They can't do that.
Want to sell the food to fund the civil war against the communists.
Really? Guess that's okay then.
Armies can't fight without food. You spend all your money on weapons, but you still have to have the will to fight. Fortunately, The Reds will win in China.
Watch your mouth. You know what you're saying?
The people of this country overthrew a king. You think the Chinese will balk at an emperor if they are starving? Galloway, homicide. We need to ask you some questions concerning Evelyn Summers.
I'm Walter Mensch. Evelyn Summers, what is it now?
You knew Evelyn?
As well as I wanted to know Evelyn. She's a pain in the ass, always coming in here, cadging drinks, never had any money. She was in just a couple of nights ago.
Did she ever tell you where she was staying?
I don't know. I think she was living rough. She had that kind of stunk about her.
Who did she drink with?
A bunch of these guys. Ask around.
What's your name?
Grosvenor McCaffrey.
Mind if I ask you some questions, Mr. McCaffrey?
I'm just a starving writer, detective. What do you want to ask about?
Evelyn Summers, and why she was found beaten and strangled in the rail depot on Santa Fe.
Okay. I see your point.
How well did you know her?
I can't say that I knew her. It was more like I was aware of her.
Did you see Evelyn last night?
No, I was at home, writing.
Do you want to get dragged into this, McCaffrey? Do you want us to get interested in you?
She hung out with this powder puff, James Tiernan. They haunted the public library together.
How well do you know James Tiernan?
I know he works some kind of plebeian job at Rawlings Bowling Alley.
Rawlings? I know that place. Corner of 9th and Graham. A lot of cops bowl there on Tuesday nights.
Do you have a criminal record, Mr. McCaffrey?
Nothing serious. I've had a few skirmishes.
Do you want to save me some time, or do you want me to look up your file?
Industrial disputes, strikes, workers' rights, that kind of thing.
A regular fifth columnist. Nice to meet you, comrade.
Thank you for the information, Mr. McCaffrey.
You drive. I need to go over the case notes.
Fine. Where are we headed?
You a friend of Evelyn Summers?
Who's asking?
Very cute. You know who's asking.
I know my rights.
You don't have any. Answer the question.
Evelyn mooches for drinks. I don't have any time for that.
Was that so hard?
Keep writing me, copper.
Can you drive to this one?
And where exactly are we going?
What did you make of McCaffrey?
There'll come a day, and it's coming very soon. We'll run him and the rest of his pinko buddies out of Los Angeles.
I meant as a suspect.
What can I do for you?
LAPD, Phelps and Galloway. We're making inquiries into the murder of Evelyn Summers.
Evelyn? She's dead?
You knew Evelyn Summers, Mr.
Robbins. Yes, I knew Evelyn. I was a good friend of her ex-husband. She kept some of her stuff here.
Can you show us, please?
Sure. Come this way.
With things so high, I better make it 2 million.
Say, that's a pretty girl dressed in that nurse's aide uniform. Do you know who she looks like?
You got some fine stock here, Mr. Robbins. You know, you let us take some for the road, this case might get solved a lot quicker.
He's joking, Mr. Robbins. I'm guessing Evelyn hadn't held down a job for quite some time before she was killed. Rawlings Bowling Alley. Maybe Evelyn did something other than drink in her spare time.
When exactly did Evelyn work in the pictures?
A few years ago. She worked in legal copyrights for music.
She wasn't always such a loner. Evelyn was reading Aristotle?
Evelyn wasn't stupid. The only stupid thing about her was her need to drink.
And she was borrowing books from Grosvenor McCaffrey. We're trying to account for Evelyn's movements yesterday.
She came by in the morning.
A social visit? To pick up some of her things?
She had a couple of bucks and bought a quart of rye.
Any idea where the money came from?
She didn't mention it. But she did say the booze was a present for a boy. She said they had been fighting and she had to make it up to him.
Were you and Evelyn close, Mr. Robbins?
Not many people will be sad she's gone. I'll be one of the few.
We got the impression that Evelyn had been sleeping rough of late.
It became difficult for me to have her staying here. Her mother was trying to get her back on the straight and narrow. She's old now. And to be honest, you have to have a good reason to want to get back on.
Do you know a friend of Evelyn's by the name of McCaffrey?
Not personally.
We're struggling for leads, Robbins. Did she know McCaffrey?
She idolized him. From what I gather, the feeling was far from mutual. He seems to peddle a revolutionary stance, fixing the ills of society. You could see how it would appeal to down-and-outs like Evelyn.
Thanks for your help, Mr. Robbins.
No problem. Hey, I'd like to make arrangements for the funeral. You think I could get in touch with Evelyn's mother?
Put in a call to the watch commander at Central Station, Mr. Robbins. He'll be trying to reach the next of kin.
Thanks. Get the guy, huh? Evelyn never hurt anybody.
Is it a serious operation?
My dear girl, all my operations are serious.
Don't you think you better boil the...
You can drive.
Fine. Where are we headed?
Car 11K, come in. Car 11K, KGPL.
11 King.
A message from Captain Donnelly. Return to Central, code 2.
11 King, en route. Let's not keep the man waiting, Phelps.
In your neighborhood, there's an Alico gas station.
That bum took a swipe and put him down in my sap.
The captain is downstairs with Ray Pinker.
And Carruthers.
I say we bust in there and find the goddamn evidence.
Goddamn captain's making me resubmit the paperwork.
Whoa! Easy!
Going to church doesn't make you any more Christian than standing in a garage makes you a car.
What's this about, Captain?
Ray and Mal have some concerns over the Henry and Muller cases, which I don't want aired outside of this room.
The evidence is solid, Captain.
I agree, Rusty. It's just that corpses keep piling up.
Copycats.
I've been banging the same drum. But the notes and the lipstick messages.
Evelyn Summers, Cartel Classic Carmine. Each woman, same brand, same color.
Teresa Terrelson didn't have a lipstick message.
Technically, you're right, Rusty. She didn't have any lipstick. But she did have a message. We found it beneath her dress, scraped with a sharp stick.
What did it say?
You sure you want to know?
Ray?
As far as we can be sure, it said cunt BD.
That's one way of looking at it.
Looking at what?
Cunt is all about access, Phelps. You're married, so yours is mortgaged. Some of us like to pay by installments. This guy doesn't like to pay at all.
Why are you so angry, Mal?
Because I just had to fire one of my assistants. He was a friend of Jameson's. God knows what he might have been up to.
Captain, we have good leads in the Summers case, but it's up to you to decide how we proceed.
Keep this under your hat for now. And to follow up on Evelyn Summers, I want daily reports.
We got our orders. Back to the Summers case. Get an address for McCaffrey. He'll have blown the bar. I'll meet you outside.
Guy was willing to write his own mother after I sweated him.
I say we bust in there and find the goddamn evidence.
Operator, message for KGPL.
Putting you through now.
Phelps, badge 1247.
How could I help, Detective?
I need an address for a Grosvenor McCaffrey.
Grover McCaffrey. Apartment 6, 126 Yale Street, between Ord and Alpine.
Thanks, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm thinking of moving up to a 45. I want to
You drive.
one
I
round.
need to go over the case notes.
And where exactly are we going?
Let me pose a question.
Depends. What you got to do with it?
Morals. Would it bother you to put the wrong person away?
Depends.
On what?
On whether anyone except the poor son of a bitch in the slam ever found out.
Hello, Rusty. Two on your usual lane?
I'm Detective Phelps. Homicide.
You must be new. What's your shoe size?
This is business, Florence. We got a guy who works here by the name of Tiernan.
Sure we do. He's a pin setter. Clears the jams, works the gutters. Go right in. He'll be hopping around the lanes toward the back. He's a nice boy.
Thanks, ma'am. Let's go get him.
Two club sandwiches. Thank you, Richard.
Tiernan! LAPD! There!
What are you waiting for? Get after him!
We might go faster if we weren't carrying the extra weight. These are flashy cars to be parked outside a bowling alley.
The lanes attract a fast-living individual with money to burn.
Or a middle-aged individual with the need to feel virile.
Don't go to sleep on me. Get me back in close. Hit him, Cole. Spit him out. Another runner. At least we've got a suspect.
Why do they always run? I'm sure we've got the wrong person in more than one of these homicides, but they always seem to land it.
You know, your theories are not airtight by any means. I'll try to shoot out his tires. Wish me luck.
If this isn't the killer, we can at least get him for reckless endangerment.
That's unless he runs into a wall and saves us all the trouble. Hit it! Clean this asshole off the road. Phelps, you gotta get me closer. Going through the square.
I hope the people see him in time to get out of the way. What if they run because someone's setting them up? Because they feel like the deck is stacked against them?
I don't make up ridiculous stories for them, I bet you. Leave that to the first imagination.
Put your hands in the air! You're behind the wheel.
Fine. Where are we headed?
Hates the sun.
McCaffrey is in apartment 6. Doesn't look like anybody's home.
Terrible shame. Means there's nobody to let us in. You want to do the honors, Phelps?
He said he was at home. He said he didn't know her. And we have the book.
Let's see Carruthers argue his way out of this one.
Is that you, Grosvenor? Who are you guys? What are you doing in here?
We're from the LAPD, ma'am. Do you know where we might find McCaffrey?
I'm his neighbor. Is he in trouble?
Look, lady, we need to find him, and in a hurry. Are you going to give me trouble?
He has a pigeon coop up on the roof. He spends his mornings up there when he's been drinking.
How do we get up there?
Down the hall and up the stairs.
Drunk and in command of a carrier pigeon. Surely we can write him up for that. A citation, at least.
Torn from the letter we found beside the body. At the very least, I'd say it ties McCaffrey to the scene. Probably nothing.
That's the guy. I heard he's an honest cop. Oxymoron for you.
Grosvenor McCaffrey! Running on a hangover, McCaffrey? Sit down and we'll
Do
talk.
not move that son of a bitch. I'll go get our wheels.
You a runner, McCaffrey? Stay and fight the good fight. McCaffrey, you're under arrest on suspicion of murdering Evelyn Summers.
We need to get downtown and wrap this thing up. It's got to be McCaffrey. Unless Tiernan set him up. I don't think that asshole Jameson could have done it, do you? Whoever did it. What's that medallion?
How do you know that McCaffrey didn't do the dog?
We have a list of over 200 suspects. His name was never on it.
If you think the list is exhaustive, Rusty, who am I to argue?
Listen, let's just work the case at hand, shall we? Then we can sit down and put all the puzzle pieces together at a later date.
I'll hold you to that.
Union and Street. Unit to handle code 2, identify.
Hey, come on!
You sure you can make it stick with one of these suspects, gentlemen?
It's either McCaffrey or Tiernan, sir. I think Jameson is an aberration.
All right. I'll deal with that degraded lunatic myself. That's some fearful retribution coming. Tiernan isn't one, McCaffrey isn't two. I want a confession from one of them. Don't fail me, young fellows.
Why did you run, Tiernan?
I was the last one to see Evelyn that night. I knew you would think it was me.
Can you describe your relationship with Evelyn?
I barely knew Evelyn.
Keep lying to me and I'll have you charged and in front of a grand jury before your feet touch the ground.
How can you possibly prove Evelyn and I were more than friends?
Can you bring me the flowers?
You should let me go now. I've done nothing wrong.
Is anybody making coffee soon? I ain't talking to you. Is interview 2 free? Yeah, okay. You worked at midnight, correct? I don't matter. We're not dirty in this city anymore.
How come this is so hard to believe? A man and a woman getting along, liking each other, just as friends.
You gonna argue with something, or can I go back to sleep? No.
Aristotle's Metaphysics, the book that belonged to McCaffrey.
McCaffrey saw her looking at it once and laughed in her face.
And you're saying Evelyn stole it?
She wanted something of his.
We either hang this on you or McCaffrey. You better give us something.
Well, McCaffrey's been in trouble with the law before. I mean, he always makes out it was some kind of labor dispute. But, you know, I'm not so sure.
What the hell is the LAPD up to these days? That's right. Did you know?
Do you own a car, Tiernan?
No, I don't.
Have access to a lug wrench?
Well, we use a lot of them to clear jams in the pin setting machines.
Coroner's report says that Evelyn was killed with a wrench. I think you did it and then planted the evidence at McCaffrey's apartment for us to find.
We went to his apartment. McCaffrey was up on the roof. Evelyn stole the book. McCaffrey went crazy when he found out. He said he would put her out of her misery. He can be very cruel.
Where's the phone?
You and Evelyn were drinking together last night, and she had no other place to stay.
I don't know what happened last night. I don't remember.
If you don't give me some reason to think differently about this, Tiernan, I'm gonna have to go to the DA.
I drank half a bottle of scotch. I don't remember a goddamn thing.
Evelyn was missing a ring from her right hand.
That's strange. She always wore it. A big black circular disc with a white E in the middle. It was made from an old typewriter key, present from the prop department at her old movie studio.
We're going to talk to McCaffrey. You need to think about what you've told us, Tiernan. You're not in the clear.
You can't expect me to burn you right now, can you?
Hey, you think those vice will get any on the side?
You ready to answer some questions?
You think I have all the answers?
People who run from the police usually have something to hide.
Touché, detective. Let's see where this takes us.
You told us you barely knew Evelyn Summers.
She hung around sometimes. I had very little to do with her.
You'll have to do better than that, Grosvenor. We know about you and Evelyn.
Evelyn was a lush, and a boring one at that. You can't link her to me.
We know that you thought enough of her to loan out your copy of the Metaphysics.
I what? I did no such thing. That bitch stole that book from my apartment. The impudent fucking moron.
And that made you angry?
Angry? I was livid. Looking up at me with that stupid face of hers, begging me to forgive her. Aha. Very good. That's one to you, Detective.
Evelyn died sometime around midnight. Remind me, where were you?
I was at home, writing. I'm working on a manuscript.
You're lying, McCaffrey. You were out at the rail yard.
And what do you have that proves I was there?
How about half of Augusta Summers' last correspondence with her daughter?
What are you talking about?
After you were done beating Evelyn, you searched her and found her mother's letter. That old lady's anguish amused you.
I know nothing about a letter or Evelyn's goddamn mother.
So what was it doing on your writing desk?
I don't know, but if I didn't put it there, somebody else did. Try exercising your powers of deduction on that.
We found the lug wrench that Evelyn was battered with in your apartment, and the note from her mother, and your blood-stained clothing. We have you cold, McCaffrey.
You think if I could be bothered to murder Evelyn Summers, I would be stupid enough to leave the evidence in my apartment?
I don't believe you, Grosvenor. The evidence says that you killed her.
You can prove that I wanted to kill Evelyn? Will there be much more of this? It's just that I wanted to get home and work.
It's either going to be you or Tiernan, Grosvenor.
Make it stick, Detective. The party has good lawyers.
Arthur or Green? I don't know who'd be worse.
Operator, give me dispatch.
Putting you through now.
Phelps, badge 1247.
How could I help, Detective?
I need the jacket on a Grosvenor McCaffrey.
Just a moment, Detective. McCaffrey was formerly under surveillance by the Red Squad. Convictions for petty theft. Dishonorable discharge from the Army during training at Syracuse. Assault on a local woman. Says he almost beat the woman to death.
Thanks.
This guy was willing to write his own mother after I sweated him.
You were in the war?
Yes, I was. Seeing the things that I saw. It changes a man. I came back here determined to change things. All I wanted was a pen and an opportunity to speak out.
You told us before that you had only minor run-ins with the police. You didn't mention petty theft.
I've never been in trouble for violence. That's the salient point here, isn't it?
You're lying, McCaffrey. You have a history of violence towards women.
How do you turn a couple parking tickets and a petty theft misdemeanor into an assault charge?
We know all about you and your dishonorable discharge, beating some poor woman near to death in Syracuse. You've never been in combat, McCaffrey. Your whole life is a fraud.
She was a goddamn peasant whore! She tried to steal from my wallet. I could have fought for this country. I could have...
You beat her because she stole from you. Because she tried to outsmart you.
The ignorant audacity of the bitch. What is a man supposed to do? Sit there and take it? How is a man supposed to call himself a man?
And Evelyn Summers, a poor, drunken nobody, stole your book.
And she got what was coming to her.
Grosvenor McCaffrey, I'm charging you with the murder of Evelyn Summers. She was a sad lady who never hurt anyone except herself. I hope God finds a way to forgive you.
Congratulations, boys. You bagged the fine catch. Another red to boot. Grand. Now, I want you to put this business about a repeat offender out of your mind. This McCaffrey creature shows no remorse. And neither will the grand jury. You would have to walk a long mile to find a better candidate for an unmarked plot at a prison graveyard.